Is this thing on?
Hello, welcome to a podcast to be named. I don't know what the name will be by the end of this. I'll probably come up with it by the end of this episode, but welcome. My name is Carolyn, or Caro for short. Most of my friends call me Caro, so I guess you can call me that as well. I'm 21. I am a college student currently studying computer science. It's like my intro for every class ever. I'm a Filipino American, very proud. I'm the oldest of 6 siblings. I have 4 younger sisters and 1 younger brother. Very full house, as you can tell. But I'm not gonna lie, I did record like 15 minutes of a episode right before this, and to stop recording to hear my feedback to find out the mic was not even working. So that's really fun to find out after almost 20 minutes. So yeah, honestly, I don't really remember what I was talking about for that 15 minutes. I was just kind of word vomiting the whole time. But I just kind of wanted to talk about why I want to start a podcast. I've always talked about it with friends, with different amounts of best friends that have all mentioned it, and I guess saying things is worse actually than doing it. Just doing it is 10 times better than just keeping it an idea on your head or on a list. Like I've always said, I want to do it with my best friends or with my siblings, that they're basically my best friends too. But I think it's gonna be easier for me to kind of do this by myself first and then slowly invite people to talk with and to find topics that I'm interested in to share with you and share with other people and have their opinions shared with me and with you. Yeah, like maybe I'll do an episode about what it's like to be an older sister and have my siblings on, or just do a complete comedic episode with my siblings because they're way funnier than I am, and I will admit that without them here. So yeah, I don't know, like what I was saying earlier to myself with no one hearing it, I like talking instead of, I loathe texting, honestly. And I think that's so cringe to hear, because I just watched that video about the guy who found this girl's Facebook from Bumble and left her like 80 voice messages, and it's ridiculous that he did that. But I love talking to people. I always say, texting is a form of talking, so I can't really say that I hate texting. I think I like talking to people to get to know them, and I think in this current generation that's kind of like fizzled out in a way that people think it's annoying to go through that phase, or they like think it's tedious to go through that phase with a friendship, with a relationship, to just talk to someone. And I want to bring that back. I want to bring back talking to just anyone, to yourself, to your friends, to your siblings, to your parents. Like talking is so fun. I don't know, I think it's fun to talk. I feel like I'm in my own like little movie or show. Like I like pretending that I have my own talk show with people. And something I always cherish is like car rides with people. As someone who doesn't drive, I think it's my forcible way to be a bearable passenger, that I talk to the person, and getting to know them and their music taste I think is really fun as well. So we can also talk about music. I think that's fun. I think I like talking about that. Just thinking of topics that I like talking about really gets me going. Like I can start mentioning something and then go down a rabbit hole for too long. But something I wanted to like preface going into this is that I want this podcast to be as unserious as it can. Like I don't listen to podcasts that are any types of motivational or encouraging or educational in any sort of way. I love listening to podcasts. They're my favorite thing ever. I love comedic podcasts. My favorite podcast is The Yard. and whine about it, and a hot dog is a sandwich by the Mythical podcast. Like, things that don't take themselves so seriously are things I admire in a way, because there was such a big portion of my life that I took so seriously about what I said, what I did, about how I looked for so long. Like, it's draining feeling like that all the time. So being able to like relate and laugh and listen to these podcasts, because they're so unserious and they're just so funny, and they have those moments where they tone down and they do talk about something serious, but I never realized how dry your voice and your throat get from talking for so long. That's why I understand why people have like co-hosts. I hated that click that just came up on the wavelength, but I think I want this to kind of be funny in a way. I don't know. I know nothing I've talked about has been like funny in any sort of means, but I think I want it to just be kind of like a FaceTime call with me and you when you listen to this, even though you're not talking back, you know? Oh my god, I need water. Hang on. Okay. I said I was gonna get water. I'm drinking my cherry limeade from Sonic that I got earlier. But anyways, I really do. I love how unserious the yard is. Like, I think that's why I really fell in love with the podcast, and like why I like the community, or like the jokes that foster from that podcast. It's just so unserious around the concept of Ludwig just wanting to get his friends to make money and to get rich and become famous. I think it's just such a fun concept to round off about, and that I can relate to some of the things they talk about. And I don't know, I think this is like my complex of like hanging out with a lot of guys in high school and things like that, and just being generally around more guys throughout school, because I felt like I had to be, since I had so many sisters, that I was like around girls too much, that I would hang out with a lot of guys, and like a lot of my closer friends in high school were guys. But now when I listen to The Yard, and it makes me think back to those times when like quarantine hit, and I had like this group of like old high school friends that we'd play like Valorant together. Like, it makes me feel like I'm back with those friends. And like, it's unfortunate that like people grow apart and they go through college, and it's normal that, not that you like you stop talking, but quarantine was that time to just fuck around and play games with your friends until 6 a.m. in the morning. 6 a.m. in the morning, that doesn't make sense, but you get what I mean. That's what that podcast makes me feel like. And I want to kind of generate that feeling for other people. Not necessarily that type of feeling that I personally get, but I want someone to resonate with me, I guess. I think that's fun. But I do remember one thing I talked about in my previous recording. The idea of making a podcast kind of has always circulated me, but the idea to start it right now at 2 a.m. was just kind of releasing the stress I had at work. I had like a really bad day at work and didn't really get all those feelings out, or like that pressure I felt out of my like system before going to sleep. So I had the feeling to like let out whatever was in my system out before trying to fall asleep. And I think this is helping. Like, that first 15 minutes I did that wasn't recorded correctly helped me kind of find this guidance or clarity that I needed to like clear up in my mind. But the other thing I did besides that was I found a bunch of old letters, and a bunch of old letters from friends and some family that kind of cleared up my mind, and it made me appreciate me as a person, because working in a customer service job, retail job, it makes you feel so little of a person, because like when people treat customer service workers, like they forget that they're human. I guess that's just kind of how some people are. that this is my job and that I should just suck it up and just do what they're telling me to do. And yeah, it's a really not everyone's cup of tea sort of job, and I think I've kind of accepted that at this point, that I'm slowly trying to find my rhythm and rhyme with how I deal with people that act like that. And like having even my managers tell me that that was a really tough time for me today was kind of eye-opening as well, that people aren't averagely like this, and I know that now, or I've been knowing that, but just having things from people that care about you and love you to look back on and read, that's like 4 years old, is really, really nice. It's more than really nice, it's just really eye-opening, because there is that mindset of like, F everyone and F all their opinions about me and how they talk about me, what they think about me. I shouldn't care about what they think of me. But I think in a way it's damaging you, because the biggest enemy is yourself. And it took me a really long time to believe that. I used to think that I was the one who decides how life works, and I mean, it is like, everyone's got free will, y'all can do whatever the fuck you want, like whatever, do your thing. But I think saying what you are to other people helps, especially people that genuinely care about you. Like, of course, don't care about what people are just gonna say negative things about you. Like, don't care what they say, but caring what people who genuinely love you, care about you, will say things that they're meant to wake you up. They're meant to wake you up. They're meant to shake you, meant to bring you in the right direction, or just trying to rile you up sometimes. But now I'm burping because I drank my limeade. But I think that people will be people, and some people won't be the nicest people. And you're probably saying like, duh, like, of course people aren't gonna be nice all the time, but it's always nice having that one person while you're working be like, how's your day going? Just asking. It's really nice being treated like a human by another human. But yeah, I also talked about my astrology sign when I was, and now I'm like rambling back and forth on topics, but yeah, thinking back, I talked about my big three. I'm a Aries sun, Cancer moon, Aries rising. I think people get terrified with the idea that I am a double Aries. I think it is low-key, it is really weird. Or not weird, but it's interesting. Now that I'm like sort of, I've met every single sign, I think, like, without even like the whole like knowing what degree the moon was at when you were born, like things like that, I think are dumb. Like, I don't personally like look into that often, but I think it is kind of funny, like seeing similarities of what when you were born, and meeting people that were born around that same time, or meeting people that were born around a certain time all at the same time, different years though, and how similar they act is so interesting. Like, I think that's what I like astrology. And I remember one of my friends, I think it was my friend Evangeline, she said, your emotions are always so heightened because of your water and fire signs are competing with each other all the time. And I'll never forget that. Evangeline, if you listen to this, I will never forget that. It helps me like think about how I react sometimes, because sometimes my reactions are so heated, or they're just so emotional, and I think I don't want to say it's because of my signs, but it's like, it makes sense that it triggers in a certain way where it's so chaotic and it's so out of control and it's so unbalanced, because it's water and fire trying to like mediate each other when it can't, which I guess I'm just making an excuse of why I'm so like emotionally detached sometimes, but you know, that's how life goes sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's funny how like people will solely base interaction with people based on their sign, and I think that's weird. Like, no, don't do that, please. Don't be like, oh, your birthday's March 19th. I don't do Pisces. I don't do Pisces. But I think it's fun. Like I think it is fun, like comparing people's signs, or like just people you don't like and being like, why don't I like them, and then looking up what their sign is, and then that makes sense, sort of thing. I think that's way more fun. But yeah, I think enough astrology talk. I want to kind of do a segment every episode where I talk about a song that I'm hyper fixated on, because I always have this one song I want to say 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I am hyper fixated about. And this week, let's look at my playlist. I want to say, okay, I wanted to talk about Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies. I think I can talk a good 15 minutes about this so I can reach the 30-minute mark. Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies. Let me find a synopsis for this while I talk. But it is a show I think everyone should watch, even though it's on the most obscure streaming app ever. But I mean, if you have a Prime Video subscription or an Apple TV subscription, wait, am I just finding this out right now? Oh, they cannot say this to me. I thought they were getting a season 2. That is evil. That is evil. This article is evil that I just looked up. It is a Screen Rant article by Holly McFarlane. You are evil for doing this, because I definitely just thought that there's gonna be season 2, but it was okay. I don't know if I want to just spoil it, but I'm just gonna say season 1 ended with a cliffhanger, and it's begging me to get a season 2, because I definitely would need a season 2. But also, this article does make a good point. The writer's strike is still going on, so could be moved back, could see if it gets renewed. I hope it gets renewed, but let me go back to find a synopsis while I do. This show just gave me life. I don't know. I really don't know how to really explain it, because I became so hyper fixated on it for weeks when it came out in April, because like I haven't had a show for such a long time, because most of the shows I watch I had to wait for the new season, and the new seasons aren't coming out until like right now, like the next couple of months. Like Heart Shaker's coming out, Summer I Turned Pretty's coming out, like those shows I've been waiting for. Black Mirror just had a whole couple episodes come out, so like that's cool. But Grease Rise of the Pink Ladies is a series that takes place in 1954, 4 years before the events of Grease, the original movie that we all know and love. Follows 4 fed up and misfit students who band together to bring out the moral panic that will change Rydell High forever and become the founding mothers of the first female high school clique known as the Pink Ladies. Annabelle Oakes, like, just call me, like, just hire me to be like a narrator on the show. And it's embarrassing because I made so many TikToks that the cast has seen and commented on and liked, and like the founder, the creator, has commented and liked on. It's it's disgustingly embarrassing that like so many people that I idolize or like that I am obsessed with have found my content, and I just shamelessly tag them all the time because I just think it's funny if they ever see it, and when they do, I get so embarrassed. But regardless, Jane Facciano is our main character that we follow for the first couple episodes before it goes into the rest of our leading cast. She is a student at Rydell High, a founding member of the Pink Ladies, the first female student to run for class president, and an older sister of Frenchie, or Fran Facciano. Marissa is such a good actress. She is my favorite singer, or one of my favorite singers on there. Cheyenne, I'm gonna just say, hopefully, Wells as Olivia Valdenov. There's no way I can't say the last name. Valdenovos? Whatever, we'll get there. A student at Rydell High School, a founding member of the Pink Ladies, younger sister to T. Remember Richie, with the reputation based on rumors that she does not care about. And then Ari Nora Artosmaso as Cynthia Danowski. Ari is an incredible actor. They are absolutely amazing. Their vocals are out of this world. I am completely obsessed with them. They are my celebrity crush of 2023, honestly. Even though they're in a happy relationship, it's okay. Like, they are everything I aspire to be. But Cynthia's character, a tomboyish student of Rydell High School who wanted to be a T-bird before becoming a founding member of the Pink Ladies. Trisha Fukuhara as Nancy Nakagawa, a student of Rydell, aspiring fashion designer and founding member of the Pink Ladies, are our 4 Pink Ladies that we follow throughout the show. The music, the storyline, everything, without spoiling it, is absolutely amazing. If you are a big musical theater kid and just, I don't know, if you like that era of Grease, that kind of like greaser era, was something I loved when I first watched the original movie of Grease. Like, I love that. Not the aesthetic of the time. I know that's like problematic to say that you love the time of the 50s. Like, the 50s are probably the worst years ever, the 50s to the 60s. But the way that they talk about like issues in California at the time of 1954 are really modern in a way that it was so accurate to that time as well. Like, Nancy's character as an Asian American, she does talk about like things people said to her during that time as a Japanese teenager, and it's all in the same like heartbreaking and not really, I don't want to say relieving, I think that's a bad word, but in a sense that we are so backwards. I don't know, like, I think it's so not intriguing, but yeah, interesting to go through those emotions during that time with them when it feels so modern. I think that makes sense in my brain, but I could go on and on about this show. The music is something that really drew me in initially because I saw clips of it, but the characters in the story will finish that all in. It'll just tie the knot for you. So if my explanation wasn't good enough for you to try out the show, go watch some videos, like go spoil some things just by watching some of the songs. I think it's okay if you want to just do that, but I think you should give the show a shot so it can get a season 2. It's nominated for an Emmy, or it's like in that voting process to be nominated for the Emmys, or I really don't know how the Emmys work, but all the cast is like doing a promotion saying vote pink, and I think it's really cute. So I will be doing that if you want to do that as well. I feel like I'm like sponsored by them at this point that I'm talking about them for so long. But yeah. But as I was saying before this, I want to do a song segment of my podcast to be named. We still haven't thought of a name. We're not 30 minutes in yet, so I gotta think of a name by the 30-minute mark. That felt so weird. Hang on. Okay, let me just say, before anyone speaks, Smooth Operator by Sade took over my life for like 2 weeks. I don't know why. I blame TikTok. And this one, he's a race car driver. His name's Carlos. Of him singing the song and then edits of that song took over my life for no reason. Like, his eyes are like angels, his eyes is cold, doom doom doom. And need to ask, he's a smooth operator, smooth operator. Yeah. But yeah. I'm not ashamed of it. Like, a lot of my friends were saying the chokehold that song had on me was absurd. But, you know, I feel like that's like everyone with a song on TikTok they find and they listen to it over and over again. It's fine. Like, everyone goes through it. It's like me trying to prove that me listening to emo music is like a phase to my mom. But, you know, I won't mention that song. That's not the song I'm going to be talking about. So, whatever. It'll be whatever. If I have to stop soon. It says device sample rates do not match. Please check audio hardware preferences. Please tell me it's not. Hang on. I'm going to stop real quick. But, okay. We're fine. It was panicking for no reason. But, actually, let's talk about this song. Basilio by Sunkissed Lola. It's a song fully in Tagalog. I'm gonna listen to it while I talk. Play. Okay. Bam, boom, choo, choo, bam. We asked one time we played it for my grandpa, and we asked him to translate some of the words, like in a sense that's not so literal compared to like a lyric translation. But yeah, you're gonna just be listening to it while I talk. I think it's the cutest song, honestly. I'm obsessed with it. I've been like in an OPM sort of mood all the time, or for the past couple weeks, and my brother recently just gave me his playlist of OPM songs that he listens to on a daily basis, because he's a little softy and loves listening to that music, and I love that for him. So I'm just gonna talk. Basilio, written by Alvin Cerrito, is a song released on the 28th of October 2022. It's Basilio is directly translated into hallway or aisle in Filipino to English. Tagalog to English. Why did I say Filipino? It's written by a Asian. The meaning of the song, Basilio's lyrics, is an expression of his love for his girlfriend and her importance in his life. He has nothing else to ask because his girlfriend is everything he needs. The singer prays to God that his love for his girlfriend will be pure. He prays that her surname will be the same as his. It's so wholesome and it's so cute. It just makes you feel that way. It's also like the perfect song to be in one of those like Filipino movies that I love so much. Those are my favorite type of Filipino movies. Are those like not super cheesy, but comedic, romantic rom-com Filipino movies are absolutely my favorite to watch. But yeah, expresses feelings to desire be with his girlfriend. The singer describes his hands being wet and feeling the spark of her feelings. The words he also uses are filled with fear and desire. He's walking slowly down the aisle, the pasillo of the church, towards his girlfriend. And then he holds her tightly and doesn't want to let her go. Iko. Iko, Iko. Ikaw at ikaw means it's you and you. My dad and my grandpa both translated it as it's almost a saying as it's you and it's only you in a shorter term, and it literally translates to it's you and you. I think it's such a, how would I want to say, it's such a catchy verse, and it makes you feel a certain way when you sing that part, or when you hear that part. I think is so cute. And like the fact that this song is so like wholesome's the wrong word, but it's all about commitment, and it's all about endless, that forever type of love, is so cute and so unseen in music recently. Like I feel like when people make music like that, they get kind of like about it. But on the topic of those songs, this song has like a minute left, so I'm gonna keep talking about it before I move on to my next song. But Atika, this part, doom doom doom, Ika Atika, Ika Atika. It's so good. But yeah, I think it's like my favorite meaning is expresses his emotions as he walks down the aisle towards the church altar to be with his girlfriend. The song describes his love as incomparable as he carries it with him every day, so this makes it in subject his favorite prayer to say. Like, you cannot tell me that is the cutest thing ever. I freaking love this so much. On February 12th, 2023, Basilio breaks the all-time record for most single day streams for an OPM song on Spotify PH charts. That's pretty cool. Let me find my next song before my second song on the topic of romantic songs. I think that's the theme for this this playlist today. We're gonna do I think we're gonna just do one more song after this one. Grant Perez. This is why you have a producer, so you're not like filling in time. But the song probably already started for you. This is Old With You by Grant Perez. His whole new album on When We Were Younger, so good. Grant has said about this song, it's about living a life that retains its youthful days even after the test of time. If I ever grow old is a funny line to him. Growing up is inevitable, but it conveys the message that always having that youthful mentality. Either way, if you ever were to grow up, at least you got someone by your side. I feel like I feel more connected with this song because my siblings love Grant Perez. If there's gonna be one or a group of humans I'm gonna grow up and be old with, are my siblings. I don't believe that for anything else in the world. I think that's why I love this song so much. But also, in the sense of love, I really love this concept that he drew the single cover with crayon, like it's a coloring book, like he's a little kid when he's with his partner. I think it's so cute. That's all I can really say about romantic songs. I don't have any analysis besides that. Old with you. Oh no, just us two. Grant Perez does this thing with his vocals that are my absolute favorite, that he can like waver. And his like hooks are so, I don't know, like literally can sing you to sleep in a way. But that's kind of what I have to say about this song. I don't really think I can say much else that people haven't said already about this song. I think it was a perfect single release before his full EP came out. Old With You was I think, a good introduction song to Grant Perez if you didn't listen to his earlier stuff. He's kind of gaining more traction now, so I think Grant Perez's newest EP, When We Were Young, is a good start, and then you can just go backwards from there. But some of my other favorite Grant Perez songs, Cherry Wine, it's definitely one of those popular ones that everyone knows. Only About Love, the demo, another popular one. The entire demos about love are my favorite. I don't know what it is about it, but I love that song. But as the song is coming to a close, I'm gonna go find my other song. I already know what it is. It's another OPM song. It's an older one, but this one isn't in Tagalog. This one is in English, actually, I believe. This is When I Met You, right? Yeah, When I Met You by APO Hiking Society. I've always known this song. I never knew the actual name of it, which is crazy. Came, you brought me out of my shell. I think it's that, not old-timey, I think that's like the wrong term to use. Not old-timey. It's that, I can't like think of words that aren't like throwback. But this is the music that reminds me of when I was a little kid, and I was listening to my parents' music, my grandparents' music when I was growing up, like in their cars when they were driving me to school. My grandpa is infamous for his same exact soundtrack in his car when he drives, and this type of music reminds me of those days of when my grandparents would just play music or he would sing, and it's that feeling that you feel when you get transported to a different time. I guess that's the better sense of the word, is that music can transform time in front of you, and you could just be teleported to a time and place from a random memory that you have with a song. And that's my favorite thing about what music does for you, that you can hear a song that you haven't heard in ages, and then suddenly like all of this nostalgia, all of this like emotion comes back. And I almost like music is like the one thing that can make me cry immediately if I hear something that triggers this sort of like emotional feeling in me, and that makes me just sob my eyes out listening to it. But When I Met You is one of those songs that it brings me to like karaoke nights at my cousin's house, and it was the grandpas and the titos' turns to sing on the mic. They would kind of be in their feels while they're drunk, and those are times like some of my cousins, my nephews, my nieces, some of my siblings, some of them won't be able to experience for, I don't know, a couple years until they're an adult. Or will they ever feel that, be that way, sort of thing. That's why I gave me a reason for my being. So random. But yeah, like I think about it all the time, like pre-COVID people, the kids born during that time period aren't gonna experience things I experienced as a kid that were normal, that weren't like things that happened in the past to them. Not that it's like going outside is like a thing in the past, but like those like culturally, like those type of family parties were things that I experienced pretty often, and for it to be like a occasional thing now to my cousins and my nieces and nephews, I think are gonna be so weird, because they're just gonna be so anxious the whole time because they're not used to being around that many people all the time. When I was that age, I was going to like family parties until like 3 a.m. and just ending up sleeping on someone's couch until I was carried into the car. Like that's that time period I'm transported to when I hear this song, and I think it's a good song to kind of end off on, because then I can talk about every song on this freaking playlist before I start. But I think the 3 words I want to give you when I give you these 3 songs is romance, nostalgia, and love. Those are the three, even though romantic and love are pretty much the same word. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call that Caro's Corner when I do my little music playlist thing. I was originally thinking about calling the whole podcast Caro's Corner. I was thinking about it, and I honestly really like it because it's just alliteration makes my brain go happy. Because I was thinking about doing it something Ode to Caro related, but I think I've beaten that username to the core. I think 17's gonna have to pay me for some royalties at that point. But if you've never known the origin of my username, Ode to Caro comes from Ode to You. Ode to You comes from the 17 World Tour in 2019. And I've been Ode to Caro ever since that. But, like, numerically, I technically came up with the username when An Ode, the album, came out in 2019, so that's like October, September-ish. But logistically, it makes more sense that it's related to the tour because it was Ode to You. And Ode to Caro is kind of where that was born and birthed from. Maybe one day I'll do a whole 17 podcast where I talk about them with some of my carrot friends, but yeah, it's been about 41 minutes, and I'm not saying that I'm going to end it right here, but I'm just starting to think of more ideas as I go on talking today, and it's really fun. Like, this is really fun to me, just being able to talk, and of course editing out like sighs and silent parts and things like that, but filling the time doesn't feel like it's going to be a struggle for me. I feel like I'm going to be able to find some topics, go through Pinterest, go through Instagram, things like that, to boost my creativity, boost my labor and things like that, and talk about but yeah, this podcast will never will never be, you should do this in your life, you should go and do that. Like, no hate to people who do that kind of podcast, but it'll never be that with me. Like, I don't ever see myself doing anything of the sort of convincing other people that my lifestyle is the best lifestyle that you should follow. I think it's more, this is my life experience so far. I'm 21. Like, there's so many more years for me to experience that I think it's okay to talk about my mess ups, to talk about things that I'm scared of still. I'm scared of doing, and I don't think it's safe, honestly, to tell people how they should feel and how they should act, but it should be so much fun to share what me and my friends and my siblings, what life is like for us as a Gen Z. I feel like people kind of not look past us, but roll their eyes at our generation, and I fully understand that. I totally get it. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to look at, tough one to hear about about what some of the people in my generation do. Some people that are my age or even younger do is definitely an interesting thing, but I'm not gonna be like a bootlicker and be like, my generation is so annoying, so outrageous. Like, it's stupid. Like, it's stupid to say that. It's stupid to act like that towards people my age, you know? And I hate when I meet people that do act like that. Like, they're so much better because they act a certain way. They act older than how they should be. Like, I always say grow the fuck up when people act like that, because it's not how you should act when you're talking to someone your age. Like, you should just be able to talk about stuff that you're both going through, or stuff that you're not going through and the other person is going through. Like, it shouldn't be like, I'm better than you because I can do this, or I work with this type of like job now. Like, I'm 21 and I'm already doing this. Like, I could care less. But, you know, it's what it is with that sort of thing. I think when you're 20, everyone's trying to just be the best, and everyone is just trying to do better than other stories they've heard of people who were 20 and messed up, or they're entering their 30s and they have all these regrets that they didn't do when they were in their 20s. So just barely in my 20s. Like, 21 is barely 20, honestly. You're barely finishing college at 21, 22. So I think no one really knows what they're doing at this age, and that's okay, and that's a hard thing for people my age to be okay with. I feel like I know so many people that are rushing through life that they just want to be moved out of their parents' house. They want to have a salary. They want to have their own place. They want to do all these things. They want to have a family. Like, my parents had me when they were my age, and I can't imagine having a kid at my age right now. The emotional strength that my parents had to go through, and a lot of my friends' parents had to go through, because a lot of us have young parents. Like, my generation specifically has a lot of people that are young parents, and all of us could never see ourselves having kids at that age or younger. Like, that's why it bothers me. Like, it makes me cringe so much when I see people act like that, and it's annoying. Don't do it. Like, if you're younger than me and you're listening to this, don't do that. Like, don't act like that. It's really annoying to see and hear, and you're not going to be someone that people want to be around if you act like that. Honestly, I'm going to say that straight up. Like, don't try to kiss up to adults when you're a kid, and they will see you as a kid if you act like that. I think it's really weird, and not really weird, but I think it's sad. I don't know if that's the right way to say. But enjoy being the age you are. I think I say that to my siblings. Like, you're gonna miss it once it's gone. And I believe that's true. When people say high school goes away in a flash, college goes away in a flash, and they're right. They're definitely right. But I think at the moment, kids, or like people younger than me, went through COVID, and life kind of got paused, and they are expected to move on from that. And I could go on and on and on about the phenomenon of what happened post-COVID with people my age and kids in general that like are freshmen in high school to seniors in college, and like what that generation went through going through school is really hard to bite the bullet and just kind of see what happened to you during that time. Because yeah, I feel like being an adult during COVID was probably really nice. Being a kid during COVID really sucked, and I probably will dedicate a whole episode about that with some of my sisters, probably, about how they felt, which is an idea I'll probably write down. But yeah, I don't even know how I got in this hole, to be honest. Like, a throwback to what I said, I think I said this in the recording that didn't get through, but it's that Bo Burnham bit where it's like, okay, weird man, how are you gonna get out of this weird hole you put us all in? And he just starts talking about something random, and I think that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, don't be a douche, don't be a jerk to people who are the same age as you, even if you're a couple months older. Don't be a douche. Just help them. I always just say that it's better to help someone than just let them be ignorant. It's definitely worse to let someone be ignorant than trying to like change their mind. Definitely worse to be ignorant towards them. But yeah, that's what I gotta say about that, because people are gonna be people. Again, I think that's what I'm gonna call this episode. People are gonna be people in Caro's Corner. But yeah, I think it's catchy. I like that title, and it's before an hour that I came up with the title, so suck my butt if you thought I wasn't gonna come up with a title in this episode. But I also just thought about it that it's also like Pooh's Corner, and Winnie the Pooh was one of my favorite shows as a child, along with Lilo and Stitch as well, but Stitch has nothing to do with my name, so Caro's Corner makes so much more sense. And I hope you like that. But we're rounding about before an hour. I don't think I'll last another 10 minutes talking about something interesting, so I will wrap it up here as the first episode. Thank you for joining me in Caro's Corner. Hopefully this will be consistent. I always say that, and I will be consistent because it'll just be the randomest things. I could just be 2 a.m. again on a Friday night or Thursday night and Friday morning where I can just talk to you guys for an hour and not think about having to set up a camera, having to look good for a camera, for stream, for YouTube video. It could just be my voice, and I think it'll be that for a little bit before I feel confident enough to record my sessions and actually record a podcast with myself and with my face. But I think my voice for just right now is sufficient, and I really, really do hope you enjoyed this video. Or, why did I say video? I just said it's not gonna be a video. I really, really hope you enjoyed being in my corner and listening along with me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, wherever you're listening this on. Keep those headphones on tight and make sure you catch some sun. See you guys next time.
If you like hearing Caro's voice or just like consuming any of the content that I make, or are interested in anything else that I make, or just interested in the things I talk about, I tweet very, very often about things that are so random that I don't talk about verbally, and I also post not often, but on my story. All handles ode to Caro on everything, every platform. Follow me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. See you guys next time.